Huh. Market trends. Huh.
Okay. Hello, everyone. This is Bennie Bell of the Surpass state team and powered with Keller Williams Realty. And today we are back and providing you some more information, some information around what's going on with the current events as well as the housing market. And once again, I want to welcome our guest, Lynell Bevels, VP of Mortgage Lending with Guaranteed Rate. How are you today, Lynell?
I'm fantastic. How are you, Benny?
Doing well, doing well.
Good.
Yeah, you know, I did a call yesterday, and I'm truly feeling blessed. And in light of everything that's going on right now, the COVID pandemic, the LNU fires that are now going on are actually around my communities that I serve and near my home. We actually were evacuated.
Right.
Yeah, we were evacuated a couple of days ago, and we were blessed to have somewhere to go. We were blessed to be able to, get our belongings together, our loved ones together, and get out of the community in a safe manner. And the police here, the local police, they did an excellent job with being able to go around the community and notify everybody ahead of time. This is actually our second evacuation. We were in the first one in 2017.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So this is our second evacuation. The window that I'm facing now, the views are beautiful. However, it's rolling hills and it's just fuel for fire. So every year it turns from green, lush green rolling hills to dry vegetation.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
Right. So this is unfortunately becoming somewhat of a common theme. We've been here for this is our 6th year, and so this is our second situation with the fires. However, I want to say my give my blessings and say that I'm praying for the victims of the fires in the surrounding areas. I know of some situations where there was home losses, and so we want to get some information for those that are affected by the fire, and some resources to reach out to, food bank services, some contacts and websites that you could be updated hourly with what's going on with the fires. So there are a number of those sites out there if you aren't aware of them. We reach out to a couple of different food banks in the area that are providing services for those who have, like I said, have lost their homes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but to answer your question, yes, Lynell, I'm just feeling blessed, that we're safe and we're able to be a resource to those that are affected.
That's great. So the resources that you have available, is that something that you're going to, do you put it in a chat, or do people contact you for that information? Or are you going to share it?
What I'm going to do, because we're live now on YouTube. So we're going to post this link on Facebook after the call. I'll provide the links to all the different websites. I'll also provide the information here on YouTube. This is the Surpass YouTube channel. So please come to the channel. We provide a wealth of information about the housing market, about different things that are going on in the community, different events that are going on. We did we provided a lot of information around, the pandemic, COVID pandemic. So, resources to, around SBA, around the PPP. We just try to stay in tune with our communities and stay, being a resource to our audience and our clients and our friends, to be able to help out and add value.
Yeah, it's important. I mean, it's really important. I know when we spoke earlier, I had mentioned to you that it just didn't dawn on me, right? Solano County, Benny's in Solano County with his family. I have a number of friends and clients who are out there. And I called one of my friends out she's in Fairfield. And, she just said that, we're kind of managing the situation, but, she and her family were safe. And I just thought, wow, this is so crazy, because here in Oakland, which is where I live, it's all foggy, smoggy. And we know that's just the smoke coming from your area, Benny. So hopefully they'll get a hold of it. I know that earlier you mentioned that are all the fires contained as yet? Or are they still trying to contain them?
No, what I'm getting at is that, a lot of them are 0%. Containment.
That's terrible.
So I know some of the feedback that I've been getting is some of the fire departments that are spread pretty thin with all the different fires that are going on. around the Bay Area. And so a lot of the situation, like, for instance, here, I know the closest one is Vacaville to us. We're in a community that borders Vacaville and Fairfield. So I know the last report with them is that, they're just pretty much just kind of letting it burn out as much as possible.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So it's just one of those unfortunate things where you just, it's out of our control.
Right.
And our firefighters, they're doing the best they can.
Yeah.
I definitely want to say that they're doing everything that they are able to do.
Sure.
To put the fires out and to make sure that the community is safe.
Right. Yeah. I mean, because I guess the majority of the fires are impacting, like you say, vegetation and not homes. Although, as you said, some homes have had some damage and
yes,
maybe, yeah. But unlike, was it last year's fires? The Santa Rosa fires, where there were a lot of homes that were burned and some of the ones in SoCal. And so I'm glad that, even though we have these fires, I'm certainly glad that it's not as many homes that are being, damaged by this. But the smoke is pretty bad. The smoke inhalation is very dangerous for, a lot of people, especially young people whose lungs have not completely developed. And then, of course, older people. And so they certainly should be careful and wear a mask. It seems to be the theme, right? You've got COVID, you need to wear a mask. And now, for sure, you need to wear a mask. Ask a firefighter who's been fighting fires for years. I mean, that smoke inhalation is not at all good for you. So
yeah. And like you said, it affects everyone.
Sure.
And it affects some, more than others. However, you're going to get an effect of it. And we're already wearing masks. We're already acclimated to that. So just put the mask on as soon as you go outside.
Oh, yeah. I went for a walk this morning, with a mask on, and I actually should have had on a double mask, like the N95 with the surgical mask or a cloth mask, because even though the smoke is starting to dissipate a little bit, it's not as bad as it was yesterday or the day before. I could still smell it.
Where you are too when you say that.
Right. So I live in Oakland. I'm in Montclair area, or Montclair Village, and so it's kind of it's like a little valley, right? Because the smoke kind of gets up here in these trees, and it was thick the other day. Like literally, I couldn't even open the windows, and it was blazing hot. And we don't have air conditioning because not very many homes in Oakland, unlike where you are, have air conditioning. And so it was either I was going to suffocate from being enclosed in my home, or I was going to have an issue with smoke inhalation. And I had to take one for the team, Benny. I had to open the door because I was I'm sure on that particular day it was probably 90 degrees here. This was Wednesday, I think. It was so hot, and it's not a complaint about the heat. Certainly it's just an observation, but it was miserable coupled with the smoke, that factor, and then no air conditioning. So I'm very glad that it's cooler today. I mean, it's much cooler. It's still a beautiful day, and we do still have, the smoke that is passing by. I've got a window right in front of me too, and I can see that it looks hazy, like it's foggy.
Hazy is not even the word to describe what's going on out here. It's like a thick fog, and it's really, it's really no point. If you don't have to be outside, don't be outside right now.
Don't be out there.
Right. And just like I was mentioning earlier, we're going to provide a map to some of the affected areas, and it's updated hourly. So, with us right now, obviously going through our second one, it was a little easier this time with, grabbing the essentials. So be prepared, until, we get, more information on the containment. Just have your stuff ready, in a room or by the door that you're able to just grab it and go. I had a number of clients, one in particular, in the Napa fires a couple of years ago. They literally was saved by their neighbor by a knock on the door late at night.
Wow.
They were only able to grab their wallet, barely that, and leave the house. Everything done. They lost everything.
Yeah.
And unfortunately that wasn't the only story I've heard of that. So
sure.
Knowing is going to keep you safe, and it's going to keep you and your family, not regretting a whole lot. I wasn't prepared.
Right.
Pictures, I ended up leaving things that aren't replaceable.
Yeah.
It's stuff. Just make sure that, the things that are
Yeah.
more important to you, like your photos and stuff like that.
Sure.
And obviously your family is taken
Right.
care of.
Family first,
Right.
Your pets,
Right.
and, certainly if you can grab a wallet, your car key, whatever, to get out of there. But, this brings up a really, really important point about, home ownership, or, just living in a residence, whether you're owning it or renting it, is that you need to make sure that your insurance, your home insurance, is really the way that it needs to be, right? I mean, we have enough going on, in our country, that we certainly don't want to have a situation where you have a fire or something like that, right? And you don't have proper insurance. And so I know that usually every year, like at least for me, as a mortgage consultant, sometimes I have clients that will ask me to do a mortgage review. And that's just simply something where, we just kind of take a look at their mortgage statement, look at what their interest rate is, what they owe, and then make some recommendations if there's a recommendation necessary. And insurance providers pretty much do the same thing. They will take a look at your policy. And so right now, even though the fire has happened, okay, let's look at our policies now just to see if there's, and I know that, Benny, you have a great insurance connection
Yes.
at New York Life. So
we have one mutually as well. Yeah, at State Farm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like, the point is that whoever your insurance provider is, you might want to reach out to that individual and just say, hey, can you just make sure I'm covered? Because that would be even more devastating than the fire itself, to not have coverage. That's the point. You will not have coverage. So
very true. Very true. And knowing that you have, you're, even if you're in rural areas, or areas that are in high fire zones, and you might not have the local insurers that are providing insurance, the state will provide insurance.
Right.
So, reach out to us. We could be, like I said, we could be a resource around that and get you in contact with the right company. And we don't push you towards any company. You're free to shop, to provide, to whoever you want to provide your insurance services. However, we have some resources that can help you out. So, and point you in the right direction. So yeah, definitely. So, and then also, speaking to, the housing market, this is our, market trends report. And this is, this is what we've
our
been
update.
Doing. Right. So we just want to be able to, provide that information as well. So I know Lynell and we spoke about a lot of different, things that have gone on in the market right now. So I want to segue into that and give you the opportunity to kind of talk about what's going on in the lending world.
Right. I'll make sure, Benny, that my hair is right. I start talking about the lending world. I want to make sure my hair is right. This is
you're on point. You're on point.
We're sheltered in place. I can't go see my hairstylist. I can't get my little roots dyed. I mean, man, this is a whole lot. Vanity is really out the door these days. I'm doing my best. I just want everyone to know I'm doing my best.
I saw you did a video the other day. You had pigtails. You had your little
that's right.
I was like, Lynell looks so cute.
It was so hot, Benny. That's the day I'm talking about. It was so hot. And there's no way I could have all this hair and it's 90 million degrees outside. I can't breathe. It's just, some people would say, oh, just cut it off. That's just too much work. I can't. So lots to talk about in terms of market update, because, unfortunately with COVID, which is really the topic of the day, it certainly has impacted, the way that risk is considered, right? Because that's how, these agencies who insure a lot of the loans, like Federal Housing Administration or the FHA, they look at the risks that various loans may have on, on their books. And so when you think about the millions of people who are out of work, unemployed because of, what has happened with COVID, it's natural for, the FHA or Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, it's natural for them to kind of reassess, the opportunity, right? Like what the guidelines look like. And so I know that, early on, like in March and April, certainly there were some things that had changed. And then, around May, June, things started to get like a little bit better, right? Mm-hmm. Well, now they're kind of dialing things back. And so, for instance, as an example, the Federal Housing Administration has simply come out with, a mandate that if you're going to purchase 2 to 4 units, meaning a property that is a 2-unit, like a duplex, mm-hmm. or a triplex or a fourplex, if you're going to make those purchases using their product, which is a 3.5% down payment opportunity, which is fantastic. It's why we love the product. In the past, you used to be able to use the rents. So you live in one of the units because it's an owner-occupied product. You have to live in one. You live in one of the units, and then the other 2 or 3 units, we would use 75% of those rents. Mm-hmm. So, you take your base income plus 75% of the rents from the other rentals, and then that is how you would qualify, which is awesome, right? There's a number of, investors. I'm sure you have people who you helped, some time ago who use that product to buy a duplex. And then like a few years later, they sold that and they have it now as a rental and they've moved on and bought something else. Well, now you can only use 50% of the gross market rents or the rents that the current seller is receiving. And the only way that they will allow you to use 75% of those rents is if you have 6 months reserves in the bank. Mm-hmm. And so just to give you like a perspective, right? So let's say that your mortgage payment on this, I don't know, let's call it a $650,000 property. Maybe you're looking at total all in, let's say $5,000 a month times 6. So you need to have $30,000 in reserves, right? Mm-hmm. Plus you need to have your money to close the escrow. So your 3.5% down payment plus your closing cost, you know what I'm saying? What it takes to set up your tax and insurance impound account, all of that stuff you need to have, and you need to like send that to the title company before we close. But in addition, you need to have your reserves. And what I say to people is this: it's shocking, yes, that they've altered the guideline. However, if you know about it, right, you can plan for it. So if I know that I'm going to now need 6 months reserves in order to use the 75% of the rents, right? Because maybe you can't qualify at the 50%, right? You need the maximum, then you need to start saving. Or, if the numbers still work for you, like I have a client who I was talking to the other day, it doesn't matter for her. She can go either way. She has the reserves or she qualifies, her income is high enough to be okay with that hit. So it's just things like that. And I think what's problematic when guidelines get changed is that a lot of times it's in the middle of, a transaction or in the middle of like, I just made an offer yesterday and I'm waiting to hear and I won't know about it for 2 days because this particular guideline changed on August 12th. So for someone who made an offer on say August 10th and their offer didn't get accepted until August 13th, mm-hmm. their whole dynamic has changed. So, those are the reasons why it's really important to stay in contact with an informed mortgage consultant and informed real estate agent so that, they can give you kind of the blow by blow as things change. And there's a lot of information. I mean, I can't catch everything, right? But there's certain things that guaranteed rate, obviously make sure that all of their loan officers are aware of because it's really important. It's going to impact, their transaction adversely. So that's one of the things that's really has really changed. And some of the other stuff, Benny, that has changed is stuff that had already changed in the early part of COVID. Mm-hmm. And, that was the whole jumbo loan space, the jumbo lending space. Right. So for those loan amounts, you're starting to
see some of those programs coming back now, right?
You are, but so just so that we're clear, the jumbo space are loan amounts that are above $765,000, and we're talking about we're not talking about VA, we're not talking about FHA because those products are government insured products, and they have their own set of guidelines. We're just talking about conventional jumbo products for people who are buying properties where the loan amount is going to be $765,000 or greater. So those people who are buying $1 million, $2 million, $3 million properties. And yes, some of those programs are coming back. However, they're not where they were. So they are still requiring much higher credit scores than they originally required. I saw one the other day that you need to have a 730. It had gone all the way up to 780, but it originally was 700. So you see what I'm saying? 700 was where that was the barometer. And remember this, Benny and everybody else, there are a million loan products out there. So I'm giving a general overview, of one of the common products that I would use, under a jumbo lending circumstance. But the point is that a lot of the programs requirements in that jumbo lending space has become stricter. And again, it's the same as with the FHA space. If you know about it, then you can plan for it. And so I've actually noticed that I've been having more calls with people where I'm saying, hey, can you go on Credit Karma and tell me what your credit score is, right? Because if you tell me your credit score is 680 and I know you need to be at 730, there's no reason for you to apply. What you need to do is let's take a look at why your credit score is 680, which by the way is a great score. It's a great score. FHA and VA takes that all day. But let's just say you're not trying to use one of those products, which is another, reason you have to get pre-qualified so that if you're ready to get pre-approved, right? You've got pre-qualification, which is a very informal discussion. No one should be running your credit. Any lender you speak to, pre-qualification is just asking you about your credit, suggesting that you pull it up while you're on the phone. They've got the consumer sites. And just having a real conversation about, okay, what's your gross monthly income? Okay, what are your monthly expenses, like car payments, student loans, and credit cards? What does that amount to? Because that's what I'm going to need to determine how much you qualify for. And then, your credit score is 680 and you're trying to buy $1 million property. Well, let me take a look at that. What's going on with your credit cards? Oh, I have a $5,000 limit with a $4,000 balance. That's a problem.
Yes. Yeah.
You need to be at 30% of the limit or less.
Right.
Because then you'll get friendlier scores.
That conversation helps you bring in clarity too about with your budget. It starts bringing you into the mindset of, okay, well, let me, if you're not already aware of what your current budget is, now it starts helping you think about what your current budget is, and now you're be more realistic about what type of the purchase that you're going to make, how much, what your purchasing power actually is, or what you're more comfortable being at.
Yes, it's very, very important. And Benny, I find that I like to say to people, my job is to share with you what you qualify for. That's my job. Now, if what I tell you qualify for is not where you want to be because it's too much or too high, well, we can play with the numbers. But my role is to at least give you a general idea of what you are likely to qualify for. And then, of course, once you have this general conversation, well, until I see a pay stub and a W-2 and some tax returns and a credit report, this is all just a general conversation. Exactly. I want to believe that everyone tells me the full truth and nothing but the truth. But sometimes what happens is people don't always understand their income. Yeah. Honestly, some people don't really understand what they make per month or annually.
The net to debt ratio conversation.
Or they don't get it. And so I think, so I enjoy having pre-qualification conversations before people go applying, because sometimes you're not ready. And particularly in this market that we're in, this COVID unrest, a lot of things have changed. And so it's just, it takes you 10 to 15 minutes to have the conversation. And then that way you don't have to have any drama throughout your transactions, because Benny, we know about transactions with drama.
Yeah. And understand that it's not that, we don't want to talk to you until you have your ducks in a row, or, we're not here to help you, get your ducks in a row.
Yeah.
That's just the process. The process is the pre-qual. I mean, that's step one. Obviously, outside of mindset, outside of, now I'm ready to purchase a home. Now I want to buy a home. Outside of you having that shift, now that if you're becoming a first-time home buyer, or if you are a home owner and now you've identified that, yes, I'm ready to either downsize or upgrade. I want to move to a new community. So after that decision is made, the first step is having that pre-qual conversation. And it's just a conversation. There's no pressure. It's just, seeing where you are right now and what needs to take place next.
Yeah, no, that's real talk.
Right. And it's just as simple as that. As simple as calling Nell and having a conversation. You see her right here. She's very personal.
Call me if you need someone to talk to. I'm happy to answer your questions.
Right. And that's and like I said, you had mentioned a number of different changes with COVID. They're they're really emphasizing that now. I mean, it's literally like, it's no opportunities for looky-loos. In order to go inside of a property, they're still requiring you to show proof of pre-approval, or if you're paying cash, proof of funds. So those are still the guidelines that actually go into a property and see.
And let's just clarify this, because we just segued from talking about pre-qualification, and now we're talking about pre-approval in order for you to just see a property, not pre-approval so that you can make an offer. Your point is well taken, Benny, because obviously that is a big shift in this COVID market, where before, in order to see a property, you would either go to open house, which doesn't happen anymore, not in the way that it used to, or you would make an appointment with, a real estate agent. You call Benny and say, hey, I want to make an appointment to go see this property. Great. You then go and see that property, and it was more of a private showing. Well, that's not really, the private showings are still happening, right? But in order for you to get that private showing, the seller is saying, in order to limit the numbers of people that are coming in and out of their home because of COVID, they're saying, if you're going to even come in and look at the house, you need to have a formal pre-approval. You need to have applied. Yeah, you need to have actually applied to some lender, and Lynell Bevels at Guaranteed Rate would be happy to help you. But, it's interesting, like in the beginning when that happened, I was really resistant. And I just thought it was like, this is ridiculous, because, you have a lot of people who, quite frankly, have not even made a decision as to whether or not, they have not even made a decision. So I think that is unfortunate, but I understand it. And I understand sellers not wanting, random folks traipsing through their home. And I know that a lot of you real estate agents have moved to video. So video, I don't know,
virtual tours,
virtual, yes. And I think that that's awesome, because, for someone who has not made a decision to purchase and they're not willing to get pre-approved, in order to see the property, I think these virtual tours that you all are now doing is awesome, Benny. Because some of them are just so real.
The technology has already been there. So now it's just, it's being utilized more so because of the COVID
because of COVID. Yeah,
now,
I think it's great.
And keep in mind that brand new homes, home builders, they're still allowing, people to walk through their studio homes. So and each builder has different, regulations as far as their showing requirements. However, if it's a resale property, if it's a property that has someone living in the property, or is owned by, an individual, and they may not be actually living in that particular property at that time, those are the requirements, being pre-approved prior and signing. And then also there's a disclosures that need to be signed, stating that you don't have COVID, that you aren't in proximity with anyone with COVID. So there, so those are just things that are in place, one, to ensure the health, and we've had that discussion before, just to, limit the spread of COVID as much as possible. And it's a win-win for everybody involved, because now you have a more informed buyer.
True.
And also now, the sellers, they know that, they can rest assured that they are actually showing it to people that are willing and able to purchase their home.
Sure. I do have one question for you, Benny. I do have one question. So would a vacant property, not new construction vacant, but a vacant property, does that still require a buyer or a prospective buyer to be pre-approved, or no?
Yes.
So yes. Okay.
Yes.
So
okay. Yep. And also the disclosure, the COVID disclosure still needs to be signed.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah, and then we stagger these, as listing agents or buyers agents. The buyers agents, they will request, or in listing agents, they already have it set up to where they stagger their appointments and with enough time in between to where they're not overlapped.
Right.
It's time for the property to air out. Some listing agents will be there at the showings to clean up in between the appointments. Like for instance, they may have, all appointments are on Saturday and Sunday. And they just may be there, just go in between each appointment to clean up and wipe everything down, wipe all the anything that you would possibly touch, doorknobs, the lock boxes to get in,
light switches, faucets.
Exactly.
Yeah, but my understanding is that a lot of the agents are asking people, just don't touch anything. Don't turn on the lights. Yeah, exactly. Don't turn on the water. Do not use the facilities.
Right.
Do not.
Don't do those things. And that's more so for people that are actually still living in the property.
Whereas for sure.
If they're vacant, then
that's different. Yeah.
Well, it's not that it's different because the agents are still requesting people not to touch anything. However, the agents are going to the properties prior to that showing and having everything turned on ahead of time.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Have all the lights on, open up all the closet doors, There's supposed to be warning notices on the properties. So that's, like I said, that's just to ensure that, it limits the spread of COVID as much as possible.
Good idea. And then of course, wear your mask. You have to wear your mask inside and out. And, some of these sellers actually have video, a lot of us have the Ring, right? Or some version of the Ring on the outside of our home so we can see people coming and going. Right. But some sellers actually have video in their house so they can see. Yeah, so that's interesting. And that's important for the agents and their clients to know that. Because you don't want to eliminate yourself because you're not following the rules because you don't think anyone's paying attention.
Exactly. Yeah. It's I've heard of a number of stories where buyers agents have got themselves in trouble with talking in a property about, offers and what they're going to offer and in negotiation strategies.
Shaking my head.
And the seller's just sitting there listening to everything they talked about. So one, that's why that right there is one of the main reasons why they stated that, properties that do have recording devices, whether it's audio or videos, are supposed to actually note that somewhere. That's supposed to be at the door when you first walk in that, your conversation could be recorded.
But Benny, people don't read. Get out of here. People don't read. They don't read. All those disclosures, you got people signing the COVID disclosure. Yeah, they don't read.
So true. Unfortunately, that is so true. That's like walking into some of these coffee shops, and I'm not going to name any names, and they have a flyer, a flyer right there that says, there are things in here that can cause cancer, and the line is out the door with people still buying stuff.
Well, yeah, people don't read the fine print. Me, I can't see either. So listen, if I'm reading, I need to have on something that helps me, right? So I might miss some information.
Right. Well, that's what we're here for today. That's why we're here. That's why we do these things. That way we can provide value and information to our clients.
Absolutely.
So outside of the FHA regulations and then also
the jumbo space.
The jumbo space, yes. What other changes are you seeing in the mortgage world right now?
I think that there had been some slow up on the appraisals early on, because appraisers were not willing to go into properties, and that has changed somewhat. Appraisers are actually going to properties, even properties that are occupied, and so I think that's a plus. We're not having the delays in getting access to properties that we were having in, March and April. It's almost like, 5-7 day turn time like it was before, COVID. So I think that that's a positive. And I think that some of the other programs, like for instance, the CalHAFA product, the state bond program, they had gotten really congested with their turn times, because they just kind of review the files to make sure all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed. But they have more capacity, which is great. And I think that a lot of large organizations, like let's say Guaranteed Rate, they're now like in a level of comfort from this whole, COVID and sheltering at home, that we're in a groove at this point. I'm not saying that, it's not taking longer than normal to get stuff done, because it still is, because the market is really inundated. But I think that a lot of like our support staff has gotten themselves to a point where they get it. They're working from home. They have to be efficient with their time, when you're working remotely. And so I think that that's positive. And I could say that is likely the same for a lot of other organizations. A lot of the realtors that I talk to, they're seeming to just be in a groove, and they're like, hey, I've not missed a beat. Their business is really doing well. And so in terms of, I don't know that I know of anything, because the FHA was the real big, kind of change that is likely to impact a lot of people's buying opportunity. That is right. There's another, but I don't know that it affects borrowers. I don't know that it's actually going to come to fruition, but Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, they actually, because of all that is going on, they have mandated this adverse market fee, if you will. So that was kind of a buzzkill, because the rates have been really, really good, and they're still really, really good. But what happens is when Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, when they look at the risk involved in doing loans, specifically refinance loans, it only affects refinances. They're looking at the risk in totality, right? Because COVID has created risk on all. It's not just, someone who has a 580 credit score has a risk. Someone, you know what I mean? This is literally in totality. There's risk because of COVID, because the person with the 780 credit score might get laid off, just like the person with the 620 credit score. So that's considered an adverse market, it's adverse market condition. And so therefore there's been like a 50 basis point hit to the rate. And it doesn't affect the rate percentage by percentage. It's like that 0.5% may impact a rate by 1/8 to 1/4%, depending on the day, what the market's doing, what lender you're working with. So I don't want anyone to think that rates are up by 0.5%, because they're not. So
right.
that's
and that's what I wanted to get to too, because
that's what you want to talk about.
Yeah, because I've seen that, and that's a lot of the misconceptions when you hear rate increases or rate decreases. A lot of consumers automatically think that that's going to reflect onto their purchasing power.
No, so this adverse market condition, or adverse market condition hit is for refinance transactions only. It has nothing to do with purchase transactions. So they need not, buyers need not worry about that. It does not have anything to do with that. Now, also understand that the folks in the industry, myself included, are using our voice to say to Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, don't do this. Like, we're in the middle of a pandemic. Folks are trying to enjoy the fact that the rates are as low as they are. And for the people out there who have not taken advantage of them, get it together. Apply somewhere. I'd love to help you, but don't miss the market. And I'm going to just say this, a lot of times, unfortunately, minority folks, Black and brown folks, seem to miss the boat, right? These rates have been low since last year. And all of a sudden, 6 months later, it's like, oh, right, I need to do that.
Right.
What are you doing? You could be saving 0.5%. Some people are saving almost a full point in rate because they've not refinanced since 2010, whatever. I mean, we all get busy. I totally get it. We all get very, very busy. But, when everyone around you is telling you how great the rates are, don't miss out. It just doesn't make any sense. It's the same way that you would say, Benny, to someone who has been talking about buying, that now is the time. Now really is the time to refinance. It just
even more so. Yeah, because right now and that's what I want to speak to too as well, is with the market right now, the inventory is so low. It's really becoming very competitive. Well, it has become very competitive over the last month or so. June, sales are going down because of the lack of inventory, because of new homes going on the market for sale. Builders aren't, they're slowing down their phases because, they're wanting to ensure that their last phase is all sold out before they start their new phase.
Which is usually the requirement of their construction loan. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So so that's what it's saying. So all around, even new homes to resale homes, the inventory is historically low for right now.
Yeah.
So that's, made the market much more competitive. And you have to be a lot more strategic on your offers, and understanding that, with homes going on the market and getting sold in the first week. And we talked about that before. We talked about that actually last month. We talked about how educating some of our buyers that, that have really tight schedules, really tight showing schedules, that, it may be an opportunity in time to put an offer in sight unseen, and relax that this contract will protect you. The contract is set in place to where you still have your investigation period to, back out of the offer if this home is not a match for you.
Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why, it's really important as a listing agent to make sure that property shows well on video. It has to show well on all the different media formats that everybody is utilizing.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, because it's so competitive out there right now, in every home, and I educate my sellers. When you're putting your home on the market, we're in competition with everything else that's out there.
True.
Right. So we have to be strategic about the pricing, understanding the market, and understanding how to market your particular home and to what buyer is going to be buying your home. Because my team, we service anywhere from, first-time home buyers to, buyers and sellers that are, selling and buying multi-million-dollar homes.
Right.
So those are two totally different markets.
True.
So understanding those markets and how to market those particular properties and help those particular buyers is essential.
Yeah. Although, Benny, there are plenty of first-time home buyers who are buying multi-million-dollar properties. It just happens to be that that's the space that they're in.
Very true.
And yeah, as you and I have certainly had the discussion, a first-time home buyer is a first-time home buyer. I don't care what you're buying. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of times, the cases that we all understand what we do, right? Like, you understand what you do as a real estate agent. I understand what I do as a mortgage consultant. I can't tell you really too much about what you do, Benny, because it's not what I'm doing on a regular basis. The same, applies to someone who is the CEO of some big Fortune 500 company. Yes, they are very, intelligent. They've accomplished a whole lot, but at the end of the day, they may very well still be a first-time home buyer. I worked with a first-time home buyer maybe a year ago who bought a $2.3 million house in San Ramon, his first house.
Right.
So, and he had the same questions, that other first-time home buyers that I work with who were buying a $600,000 house. And he was like, I hope this is not a dumb question. No question is a dumb question.
Of course not.
You're a first-time home buyer.
Exactly. And it's one of those things where it's not, I'm not pigeonholing a first-time home buyer into a particular dollar amount. It's just that, they're going to have different questions versus someone that has purchased a number of different homes.
Right. Absolutely.
Exactly. So, thank you for elaborating on that.
I just wanted to just,
and exactly. So it's just one of those things where it's like I mentioned, it's being aware of the market that you're in and understanding what your niche is.
Totally.
That's why I rely on you for the mortgage information, right?
Right on.
Exactly.
Right on. And so what else is going on in the market, Benny? I know that the inventory is tight, but what else is going on?
Well, outside of the mortgage, actually, I think it's been more changes in the mortgage side than, the actual housing market itself. There are a number of buyers out there that the number of buyers have gone up drastically. And this still is peak season. A lot of economists are anticipating that this peak season will go into late November because of the COVID situation.
Yeah, and normally, just so that everyone understands, normally the peak season has ended, right? Because kids are back in school in September or late August, September.
Late August right now, exactly.
Yeah, late August. And so normally things start to kind of taper off after September, right? Because people are like focused on the kid. But now the kids are back in school.
Well,
virtually,
they're at home.
They're at home.
Yeah, and here in our area, they're actually off for a couple more days because of the fire.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So in right now, families are taking advantage of the situation where the kids don't have to go into school. So so they're still out buying.
As they should. Everyone should take advantage of the time. You know what I mean? There's enough devastation about the situation, but there's also a lot of opportunities and positive things to consider, right? More time with your family, but also time to plan whatever your next move is. And, I know I've certainly heard that you've got a lot of folks in, other parts of the Bay Area who are trying to get out of Dodge. They're like, I got to get out of this little 500 square foot apartment and move myself over to somewhere where it's sunny. Sunny.
And where we're not, on 5 different people on the elevator.
Or I'm not in my bed. That's not my bed is not my office. I've been on Zooms where I see people sitting, in their bed, and I'm like, did they not know we were going to be on a call? Well, that's their office. That's it. I'm like, okay, well.
That's why it's an opportunity right now, where there are a lot of jobs that are stating that, we're going to be moving towards, maybe everybody working remotely. A lot of different positions are still, in that situation where they can work remotely, especially in the tech industry. So, so we are seeing an influx of buyers that are coming from the inner Bay Area to the suburbs now to, like you said, spread out, get some more room, have their own designated office. So that work-life integration is more so.
Available, sure. Yeah.
Right. It's becoming the norm now. You have homeschooling and you have work and you have living space. Yeah. And you have to accommodate all that now. So now we have to spread out and get some more room in the house. So yes, we are seeing a lot more people coming from the inner Bay Area. And I mean, I did go over charts, and I'm always having charts.
I know.
One of the things is if you can't measure it, you can't see where you're going.
It doesn't exist. Yeah. And exactly. I remember our last conversation, we were talking about the May numbers and comparing them May this year to last year. And so, I mean, we're in August, soon to be September. So the numbers that you have, are they August numbers or July numbers?
They're July numbers, actually.
They are July numbers. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So we're late enough in August to see the July numbers.
Okay.
And we're almost at the hour mark, so I don't want to take too much time on this. However, this is Napa County, $0 to $800,000, and always, like I said, track back from where we came from to where we are now. That's things with tracking real estate is cyclical, and understanding the history of the market can kind of sometimes give you some insight on where the market's going. However, we still are in unprecedented times with COVID. We've seen in the past couple months that, where the numbers have been still really, really close in comparison to the previous year. So here we are here in July 2020. And this is for sale in the light green, sold dark green, and the red line is pending. So we're at 84 sold, whereas this time in July of 2019, it was 70. So you see, the number of homes that are actually for sale has dropped drastically, almost half, actually a little over half. This is 154, 71 here.
Wow.
So that's what I was speaking to you earlier about the inventory being really, really tight. And it's essential for buyers to be educated about the current market and understand that, when you do go see a home, be clear with your real estate agent that you are going to go see something that you are potentially going to buy. Because it's going to avoid you from wasting your time. It's going to avoid you from missing out on the home that you would buy. So that's why we sit down with our buyers and we go into detail about exactly what they're looking for in their properties, what their want list is, their must-have list, what they would like to have list, and we set up our showings, around their parameters, around what they're specifically looking for.
Right. Yeah. Well,
so that's one of the things in the buyer's consultation. So we're clear on that. And then when we actually go out to do showings, these are homes that you said that you would potentially buy. These are homes that you said you're looking for. These are the features that you said you're looking for. So now it's about how do we make that offer as strategic and competitive as possible.
Totally. And guess what? All the other buyers are having similar conversations with their agents. So it's important, right?
Right. Well, yeah, you'd be surprised. It's like I said, knowing the market. You have to know the market that you're in.
Right.
And understand that you partner yourself up with a team that knows the market. That's going to be of value to you.
Right. I mean, I guess my point is that the reason why you're having the conversation is because there is competition. And, so another agent may not necessarily have all the information that you have or the next agent has, but the point is that there's going to be some level of competition, and therefore, this person making an offer needs to make, as I say to my clients, make your best offer. I'm not a real estate agent, but, you know, because I'm talking to people about, you know, the financing for their purchase. And, you know, I get calls like, well, Lynell, you said that I was pre-approved for this. Can I bump it up by another whatever. And, you know, or someone who I've said, hey, you qualify for 550. And they're like, oh no, I only want to buy it like 350. Okay. And then they, you know, and then they start looking at where those dollars are going to take them. And then it's like, oh, okay. And I always say, make your best offer, because if you make your best offer and you don't win the bid, you don't feel as bad, right?
No regrets. Well, it's nothing to feel bad. And I always have that conversation too in that consultation. And this is it. And I've always had, you know, a very clear buyer's consultation. This is something that it doesn't matter what market we're in. You know, it's just always best to have that conversation, because we're not here to waste our clients' time.
Right.
So yes, it doesn't matter what market it is we're in, is having that conversation so we're clear and we're able to provide value to our buyers. And yes, and if you're putting your best foot forward, if you're putting, you know, the offer in, if you're like, well, I would put another 10,000 or I would put another 100,000, but I'm gonna see if I can get it for this.
Right.
Now, if you lose out on that offer, you know, are you comfortable with that?
Yeah.
Right? You muted yourself. You muted yourself. There you go.
Sorry about that. There's no guarantee. Yeah, sorry about that. There's no guarantee that a seller is going to counter, you know, a buyer.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's no guarantee, which is the reason why a buyer should always make their best offer. And so the other kinds of conversations that I have with buyers who are lamenting over whether or not they want to make, you know, a higher bid, is I say, are you going to lose a property for $10,000? That's $42 a month. Yeah. Because when you really look at the numbers, so if I'm going to make an offer and it's $10,000 over asking, it makes a $42 difference in my monthly payment. I mean, are you really willing to lose a property for that? Even if we're talking about $50,000
or a couple $100,000, as long as it's within your budget, as long as you're comfortable paying.
But I think people have to know, Benny. Yes, I think people have to know, what does this additional money equate to from a monthly perspective? And when people understand that $10,000 is less than $50 extra per month, a lot of times it's like, oh, okay, you know. But some people are really just about the deal, you know, like, this is not Vegas. We're not playing roulette. This is real life.
The house is winning here.
Yeah, the house is winning.
The numbers show the house is winning here. You know, if this is the house for you, you know, you got to bet on the house. You got to put it all on the table. That's
great, Benny. The house is winning in this case, and has been for, you know, we've been in a seller's market for quite some time. And so the house has been winning for a while. But even in that, you know, there are still opportunities where, you know, you may not have to overbid. It just depends, right?
Every community is different. Every city is different. So, like, again, it's, you know, being knowledgeable about the market that you're in.
Right. Good stuff, Benny.
Definitely. Yeah. So, I mean, and like I said, I want to be respectful of everybody's time. I have, you know, the breakdown from Napa County, Contra Costa County, Alameda County, San Francisco City proper. So yeah, if you're interested in, you know, finding out what that market is for you, where you are interested in buying, we have historical numbers. We even have an app that you can download directly onto your phone. It gives you detailed information about the neighborhood, all the way down to the neighborhood that you're looking at.
Nice.
Gives you information about different restaurants in that neighborhood. And different feedback from homeowners in that neighborhood. So if you want some more information, more specific information about the areas that you are looking for, you know, please reach out to our team. We're here to help. We're here to, you know, service whatever real estate needs you have. I'm always like to say that I like to be the resource that, instead of Google, reach out to us.
Right.
You know, we are, you know, very proactive with building out our business to business network, so that we are that resource. You know, if you're looking for somewhere to, you know, somebody to throw a birthday party for you, somebody to cut your grass, you know, engineer, to a real estate lawyer, whatever your needs are, please reach out to us first. You know, and we're you know, very active with building that relationship, so where we can, you know, if you have that need, we can put you in contact with the person specifically that can help you.
Yeah. And, you know, Benny, I just want to add a shameless plug for the Oakland African American Chamber of Commerce, because it is the the 17th annual National Black Business Month this month. Okay, and so there are a number of activities happening as, in support of that. And the Chamber has several seminars happening that start next week, and you can check out the Chamber's website. I happen to be the Director of Community Engagement, so I had to give a plug for, for the Chamber. But, you know, we have Kim Coles. You remember Kim Coles from Living Single? She's going to be one of our presenters, I think Thursday of next week. She's doing a Broadcast Your Brilliance, specifically focusing on small businesses, entrepreneurs, and that type of thing. And so we're really happy to have her, but we have a number of other folks, local folks, not all celebrities, right, who are going to be on panel, including yours truly, with the Associated Real Property Brokers. And so I want to encourage, you know, everyone to support the, to support Black Business Month, but to support Black business all the time. It should just be commonplace. We shouldn't even be having to have a month because no, who else has a month? I mean, if there's value, if there's good quality, you know, product, purchase it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That's right. That's right. This has been great, Benny. I always enjoy this information. I hope that the community appreciates the information, and that if they have follow-up questions, that they know that they can reach out to either of us. I mean, I'm on Facebook, so it's Lynell Bevels. I think I'm the only one. Yeah, I think so too. Lynell Bevels. I can guarantee rate. I'm everywhere. You can reach out, and I'd be happy to have a discussion with you. Definitely. Yep. And we'll provide all the information. This will be on our YouTube page, Surpass. Also, it'll be on our Facebook page, Surpass. We'll provide a link to this live video. We'll also provide you to links to the different resources that we spoke of earlier around the LNU fire. So you'll have, you know, the resources for the different shelters that are around, all the updated websites that are providing hourly updates, and then also, like I said, and the animal shelters, animal shelters, and as well as the current real estate statistics for whatever neighborhood that you're interested in. If you have any questions about what your real estate needs are, please give us a call, or please reach out to us on email. We are on LinkedIn as well. Hope we provided some value to you today, and be safe and take care. See you next time. Thanks, Benny. Thank you always, Lynell. You take care. Talk to you soon. You do the same. Have a great weekend. You too. All right. Okay, bye. Bye.